This is Justin AMZN for Wednesday, February 17, 2021. And we had this resistance line drawn in from Tuesday, and we broke out from there. So I went back and drew in a triangle and kind of approximated where that may line up. I actually just connected the open and the close and realized we just had kind of a false breakdown here. And we only had wicks really pushing a little bit through that a little bit later. And then we opened up down below, quickly recovered and ran, had a really clean S curve, just didn't quite come back down to this line. I extended this to right, didn't quite come back down to the yellow line either, but had some really nice indecision candles right down in here. And these were really replaying the high level in yesterday's afternoon. And yeah, we just retested that price range, and then we were off to the races from there. So yeah, calls were working, and so you just had to be patient. So just like Tuesday, if you had the open price drawn in, now on Tuesday it didn't work to buy off of that open price later, but today it did. And so getting in right around the 450 level, 450 by 350 would have worked really well, or even getting in, even if you were a little bit early, 5 by 4 would have worked. The low at the open was 410. So it really could have pulled all the way back down to that low price. But from there, let's say you got in at 5, you would have just been looking for 3 hours. So 5 to 8, you're out, just 10, 15 minutes later with a nice gain. And then I extended yesterday's open call price. So this is one of the calls we were looking at yesterday. And if you extend that price, it actually retested to that price level here. And from here actually ran up 3 hours. So getting in, this is 677 exactly, but 7 by 6. 750 by 650 would have been a little bit tough. Maybe over here, if you were looking, if after I put in these lows, but still it still could have pulled back a little bit more after this candle. Hopefully not. It held this level right into the 21 on the 5-minute stock. Inside candle here, that would maybe looking 750 by 650 after these candles would have worked here. So let's say worst case scenario, 750, 3 hours up is 1050 with $100 risk. And so that would have been a great move. You do have somewhat of a double bottom here and kind of a neckline price right around 9. Buying here at 9 and holding up till 12 actually worked also. So lots of chances to buy. It did not look like a double bottom here on the stock. This kind of looks like a double bottom, but we did not get a pullback into the neckline, at least not on the stock, but it did work out on the call. And so that's something to look for. It's like, okay, even though you're seeing a pullback and it doesn't look as substantial on the stock itself, as long as you're getting some rest, and this is definitely a rest and definitely a rest here, look for that entry that makes sense with the pattern going on. So getting in at the neckline, it was also the retest of the earlier high right around 9. So 9 by 8 would have been that setup to do $100 risk. And like I said, looking for a move up to 12. It had already made it up to 12. It could get up there again. It actually did. But even if it didn't get to 12, you have some opportunities to kind of tighten up your stop, maybe lock in a little bit of a win. And if it's just not working, I mean, obviously if it did get to 12, but if it came up to 1150 and then 1180 and, doesn't quite make it, well, just get out at 2R or at an R and just, walk away from the trade. It didn't work anymore. In this case, it would have worked. We had a little bit of a consolidation here over this hour, almost an hour or so. It looks like a nice consolidation on the call. It just went sideways for a while up here and looked like it could hold the 21 again. And then this candle started to break down. And when this candle broke down, it really came right back down to that $9 level. It already retested here. And that's where, sorry, I thought I had the put lined up. So 3,200 put, that was this candle breaking down. You got a little bit of a bounce here on the put and then a little bit higher, but the put just wasn't moving. At least the 3,200 wasn't but did have a bit of a breakdown there. A little bit better here. I'm going to just zoom in on this area. So yeah, with that candle breaking down, if you got in like 6x5, um, it didn't even move 2R. It moved up to 8, which barely would have made 2R. I don't even know if it would have been filled there. But as it pulled back, and it pulled back on the stock right back into the earlier high, like we had pulled back into that price on the option as well. So that's kind of what I saw with how things moved around today. Calls were definitely the way to go. Getting in these pullbacks and just being patient for a previous level. Or what you can do is if you have a larger R, you can get in when you feel like getting in with maybe half a position, and then have something else getting in a little bit later if it were to pull back further. If it doesn't pull back as far as that later price, like if you were looking for this yellow line and it didn't fill, but after it put in or before it put in these candles here and held that level, maybe you're just getting here thinking, okay, if it doesn't go any further, I'll get in with half a position. I'll put in my other half position down here. You can do that. It's hard to do with $100 risk, but you would have to go further out. Maybe look at like the 3,400 call. We were looking at that one yesterday as well. So man, that put in some really nice small candles here. Even if you got in after this, like getting in 3x2, that still would have worked. Well, it wouldn't have worked for 3R. So I guess you got to make an adjustment on what your gain is going to look like. But if you were getting in at this price here, let's say like you just saw it sitting here, it's like, okay, I'll get in for 225 and get in with half your position, and then you're gonna get out with half your position when it's running up. It's like, oh, it just went from 225 to 425. I'm going to get out. And that's so half a position, a 2R move, that's still an R. So you can do that. It's just looking at a different option to do it. And if it had pulled back a little bit more, you get in with the other R, or the other half an R, half a position, and then you got a full position on, and you can get out for your full position as it moves up. So that's another way to play these. And hopefully many people did that today. It was really nice to see Amazon starting to move. And with where things are at here, just the range that we're in, we've got room to run. We're about halfway into this range. So let me switch over to the hourly and maximize this, because this is where we left off yesterday. So I thought it was interesting. This line is really close to the midway point between this solid red line, this solid red line. This is our resistance zone. So we're halfway back up into our resistance zone. Technically, we retested this triangle. It took a couple days, retested yesterday, and then retested again today, and we could roll down, but there's a lot of bullish momentum here. It looks like people are thinking it's going to continue, and we've got a little bit of a flag pattern happening here. We also have some really nice hammers that have come in. So this hammer down here at the bottom of the range, high wave candle, nice high wave candle, some smaller candles, almost inside candles, and then we have another hammer right here, and it's literally sitting right on the line I just extended. So that's from this triangle over here, where we also had hammers. So we're at a similar. Let me turn that back on. So we have a hammer here that we gapped up and broke down through immediately, and then we have a hammer here. We got a high wave candle after it. If we get a continued move higher, this should just run. That's what this looks like. That's what we've got. Some bears coming in, some profit taking, a hammer. We've got kind of a little bit of increase in volume with indecision, but this is sitting right on the 5 exponential. To me, this looks like a little bit of a rest, and with the rest after 5 nice bullish hours, hourly candles, we could just continue to race higher. And that's what we were doing over here. We were putting in some bearish candles, we'd rest. In this case, we retraced. So I take that back. If we retrace, look for it to come back into the 21. And then I drew, this is connecting the open and the close price from yesterday. And I just extended it to the left and the right to see what else does it interact with. Let me go back to the 5 and kind of show what that looks like. Waiting for it. There we go. Okay. So I liked the open price. It was such a strong candle. And then I liked where the close was, making this a triangle here. Another thing you can do is if you line it up with this open, it slants a little different, but I didn't like how that lined up with some of the other candles prior. So I liked how this triangle with this point and with the open price and the close price really lined up well on Monday, or on Monday was a holiday. So on Friday, with the low here and here and here and cutting through some of the lows. But I mean, really the only real close on a 5 minute we got was this candle. This one tiny little dip below, but otherwise it's really held until here. So just a couple bearish candles that have dipped below, but we've immediately closed back above with like the very next bullish candle. Even here, I mean, we got below, got right back above, got below, right back above. So this line looks like it's showing some support. So like I said, it's the open from yesterday and the close of yesterday. Here should those prices be open 32.54.05 at the open time, and then the close of 32.67.05 at the close time, and just extended it. So that's what I've got here. I don't know if it's going to work. I've connected 2 points. I see some levels that it interacted with prior, not knowing that this would have lined up so well with the open close yesterday. And then we didn't get back into that price today. If we had, wow, that would have been an even better place to buy if it had touched that. But even a wick down and then bouncing, that would have been like just even more confluence to look for a bullish move. So so this line looks like it's done and over with. I will leave this here a little longer. I have this triangle up here. This triangle didn't end up lining up as well with the other line. So we'll see over the next couple days here if we do come back and start bouncing on something. If we do get some other levels that we can adjust this and see, okay, do we adjust to the open of today or adjust to something else? Because this one was based on the open here and the open here. And those were very distinct candles a couple days apart. Today, I just got an open and a close. So I don't like that it's only today's prices, but I do like that we have some levels that held yesterday and just kind of add to, some of that confidence. So we'll keep an eye on this line. I've got it in here just to kind of see, will this work? It already did not work today. It didn't really drive any prices today or connect with any prices today. So that's why I just want to kind of wait and see. And then I did something similar with this one. I just kind of honed in on what the open here was and the close, I'm sorry, and the open of this 5 minute candle. So with those, I was actually kind of surprised it touched here, didn't quite get here, touch here, and then just a little push up through it in this 5 minute candle that immediately came right back down. And obviously it looks like it's consolidating really well, but I just used the open price here and the close price here. So I tweaked these from what I had from yesterday just because it gave us another open price very similar to what happened on this day, where this was really pointing at the open price. And we didn't get that today where this triangle pointed at the open price, but it did point at a really nice range to be buying or buying close to. And that would, I mean, if it came in here, I would have been buying this hard just because it came right here. It got so close. It's really, I mean, this is me being very precise. It got so close. Everybody should have been buying this. And 15 minutes of it resting and then bouncing. I mean, this is how it can work really well. And give you those levels. So we've made some R's, and hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.